Hello and welcome again. And my name is Lisimole, uh, and I'm back again. And welcome again also for always coming back. Uh, Before I start, I just want to make a disclaimer that this video is not meant to, it's not made for any diagnostical purposes. You're not supposed to start diagnosing yourself from here. We are basically just here trying to share information and just getting interaction with each other, just sharing our experiences and our exposures are related to certain issues. So hence I'm saying I need to make that disclaimer. Do not say from this video I think one or two things. Should you feel like perhaps one of the things that we might mention, you might want to, you might recognize having battled with those, I think it would, the most important thing it will be to get the medical consultation, consult your doctor, the nearest doctor, and then you can take it from there. But this is mainly for uh, interactional purposes, and just as I'm saying, to share our experiences and so forth. So as we have seen recently, I think we have seen what has been happening in the media, people coming out and saying there are people that pretending to be what they are not, and then misleading the public, which is now seen as a criminal act, because you are basically now playing with people's life, taking people for granted, and basically, it's like you are taking people for fools. But reality is like, what we need to ask ourselves, what would drive one to act to that extent that they will forget all their self-respect and decide now to live a lie? Is it worth it for them? Are there any circumstantial reasons that forces them to do what they do? So as I'm saying, I've already actually seen few videos, and unfortunately I haven't been quite active in the social media. So by the time I got to see this, it was already late. I think it was only yesterday. Then I started asking people, like, what has been happening? What is this? Because I'm hearing like there's a lot of certain patterns happening around. So now they explained to me the story, then that's when I got filled in, as I'm saying, for interactional purposes. I interacted, I got information. So I just wanted to come and share my thoughts, of which I might be wrong as well. But as I'm saying, we are here to educate each other, to interact, and to move forward. Upon hearing all this and what is happening, and hearing that criminal charges have been imposed on the so-called, I don't want to call them, use any other name, or so-called people that have been implicated in the story going around, I started thinking quite deeply, and then as I'm asking myself questions, hence I decided to do this video. And I hope that through your interaction, maybe I might also be able to get to certain answers. I might get few clarities in that. We get to hear now somebody waking up in the morning, starting to impersonate certain personalities or certain character or certain profession, so to speak, and then wanting to live that lie, turning that fallacy into reality. So it takes a lot of planning, it takes a lot of guts. I mean, really, we can be judgmental as much as we want. We can call them names, they are they are taking chances, taking people for fools. They want to shine, they are looking for validation. Those are our reasons. But now deep down, I've been sitting and thinking about this. We have just come out of, it's been a few years that we were in lockdown, and then we know what the confined spaces, unfamiliar environment does to one's mind, so to say. So now there's so many problems after COVID. I mean, we are all depressed because there's economic crisis here and there's all sorts of things, that bad things that we can never think. We have lost people. We will not be able to mourn our friends, our colleagues. It was sad. So our mental states somehow should have been affected. But now the issue here is we are talking about the individuals now. So that happened to be have been in the spotlight because what they did was a bit extreme. They took it to certain extreme that now it becomes something else. So I've been asking myself to say, we usually give so much attention to depression, and I think people are now more enlightened on about how to recognize symptoms that are associated with clinical depression. But now remember that with mental health, there's so many conditions under that. So when I was following these stories, and I actually had this, could we be dealing with psychosis here? Could it be schizophrenia? Could it be, I wouldn't say personality disorder, because I think personality disorder forms part of, what do you call it, axis 3. So basically I thought of, your bipolar mood disorder, bipolar mood disorder and schizophrenia. So, and like psychosis, as I said, and obsessive compulsive disorder. So now, remember, with things like psychosis and schizophrenia and your bipolar, people tend to lose touch with reality. And then because most of them now, they're delusional, they start to live their delusions. Here is an reality situation that the person thinks that it's who he is, but it's all in the person's mind. And now the person now starts to relive that, because that's what happened in case of schizophrenia, in case of, as I'm saying, bipolar mood disorder, in case of psychosis. So now we are here as health professionals, and then this happened in our space. So my question is, if this happened in our spaces and we could not actually even pick it up, that could be a problem. How many people are we now missing that are having these problems, that are not getting attention that they deserve? So as much as it sounds like perhaps I'm trying to justify whatever situation at hand, I'm also trying to approach it from a different angle altogether, to say, what could have caused this desperation? Was it that so dire that it caused somebody to come and live a lie and try by all means to convince everybody that what they are living is true, whereas it was purely delusional? So I don't know. Hence I decided to say, let me come around and hear what everybody thinks, because I think if you look, we need to take the history of these people and find out, because they could have gone through a lot that could have perpetuated this behavior. So as I'm saying, it takes a lot of planning, and sometimes I remember we tend to react differently to other situations. Other people will go into direct after something that is not nice happen to them, after they've been exposed to an activity or anything that is like, as I'm saying about the bereavement, the COVID, loss of jobs and all those things. Other people, they're able to go maybe into presumptive clinical depression, and it becomes easier and also easier to recognize and also to diagnose, so that people and also to ask for help. But with things like schizophrenia, it's something that is a bit tricky, and I think we also need to start educating ourselves around different conditions. As I'm saying, I think now we are at the point where most of us might be having some mental conditions without even knowing, because of what we went through. Remember, most of mental health or psychiatric conditions are believed to be predisposed by external environment. Sometimes they are genetic. But what we went through also, I think, plays a major role into now. How do you adjust? Hence, we see so much adjustment disorder. The person now start thinking, if I look for validation by impressing everybody, then I will fill that void. I will avoid my circumstances. I don't want to live this reality that I don't have. Rather, I will lie to myself and lie to everybody that all is well. This is a very sad thing for me, because, as I'm saying, we need to destigmatize things and start talking more about mental health, so that people can come forward and say, you know, ever since this and this, I'm experiencing this. Is it normal? Where do I go? How do I do? Because imagine, these are the cases that tomorrow, should it happen and something bad happens, we're gonna say, but science were there. But what did we do? Rather, we mocked. We made fun out of the whole thing. You know, we just said nasty things about the whole situation. So I think, let us just be sensible and see how best we can approach things like this, because we're still gonna see a lot. I remember back in the days, I think we were still in schools, and we were doing a mental health and psychiatry block. The stories that came through that with patients that were admitted at the institution that I was at were things that now, even today, they still shock me. Somebody went from being a prosperous, a professional, call it maybe your chartered accountant, to be somebody that is now a lifetime patient at mental health, all because there was a disappointment during time when she was supposed to get married. And it took long for them to realize that this person is actually sick. By the time it was discovered, it was already late. Hence, I'm saying the life now was like wasted, because here's the young lady sitting there, nothing much. Every single day she tells people she's living that fallacy that she's getting married, whereas she's not. The marriage was already cancelled. It never happened. So, but her life ended that day. She started to create this imaginary life for herself, that she thought perhaps if she started behaving like that, lying to everybody, that the marriage will still happen, the wedding will still happen, people will now start to accept them. So now let us, I think, be sensible, show some compassion towards each other, show some love. We need to, because we have professionals in our midst. But when things like this happen, sometimes I think we always want to take, the back row and let now the public mock people and all that, and tomorrow we want to come. Because I think it's one of those cases, like, tomorrow should they go to court, the next thing that the court is going to say refer that line for psychiatric evaluation to determine if the person is fit enough to stand the trial. Because this is the person that has disconnected from reality. So even being in court, to them it might not be anything that is, off considering or whatever. They will take it lightly, as we have seen in few instances where somebody that we believe that perhaps there might be a mental issue, how they behave in court. Sometimes these people might just get away with this, but the issue is, like, remember, after now they've been hurt and they happen to get away with it, what's going to happen next? Because now it might also be added some anger, and like they feel that they've been betrayed by their own people. Tomorrow, what are they going to do? What act are they going to do? Is it going to be something that is now looking for validation, or is it going to be a revenge? So, my dearest people, as I've said, I'm not here to put any thoughts in anybody's mind, but I was just saying I wanted to share my thoughts and my sentiments regarding to what has been happening. Thank you, and all the best, and I hope you subscribe. Thank you. Bye.